What is up, fishing addicts? On today's video, we'll be talking about are cheap baits better than expensive baits, or vice versa? Are expensive baits better than cheap baits? This is based on about 3.5, 4 years of experience that I've been purchasing baits from various companies, and none of these baits that I'll be talking about on today's video are I'm related to them by any means, like sponsorship, pro staff, or any of them. So it's completely honest review. So none of them are paying me or anything like that. And before we continue on the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to see you guys subscribe to my channel. I am trying to reach the 1,000 subscriber mark. Probably within a month or two. Either way, and I want to give big thanks to some of you who got the Tide Pod challenge joke. So good job on that one. And let's get to it. First, I want to start out with my least favorite, and this is I guess a lot of people love the Lucky Strike baits. I have actually won this on a giveaway. I can't recall who was it, but I did use it only for I would say maybe 10 casts or less when I was fishing for trout. I mean, when I was fishing for kings in Root River, and just by using it for less than half an hour, if you guys can see right over here where the hook marks are, I mean, you do not expect from a bait that you just pay $17 for the paint job to come out that fast. Other than that, it does have good swimming action and everything. I believe this is a silent model. Other than that, I wouldn't buy this bait. To me, Lucky Craft are a pretty big disappointment. If I was to buy expensive bait, I will go with Mega Bass. But I have not purchased any expensive bait since last year. Well, since beginning of 2017. Like I said, for $17 lure, I believe these are actually $13.99 or something like that. But I mean, for the paint job to come out, it's a big disappointment. And then I have used this one. I used to use this lure a lot. I have been owning it probably now it's gonna be 3 years. I did catch a lot of pike on it. So, and there is no teeth mark on this one. I mean, like I said, I've been using it for some time, especially for pike in the river. The bill, it's a little bit rounded up, but you do get that if you use their lure in the rocky areas. This one is from Yo-Zuri. It's the 3DB series. It's a floating one. I love these. I haven't used Yo-Zuri. I haven't bought Yo-Zuri in some time, but these used to be one of my favorite cranks, and I believe this one was $6.99 or $7.99. I don't really remember the price. It was a long time ago. And the paint job, it's pretty nice. I mean, I haven't seen anything wrong with that, except there's a couple of teeth marks from the pikes that I've been catching. But otherwise, I'll give her a 4 stars out of 5. And let's go down to a little bit cheaper baits. This was my all-time favorite. Well, not this exact same color, but even the color, I do use similar baits from Strike King. I think this is the 1.5 or 2.0. I'm not quite sure. Haven't bought Strike King in a long time. But I mean, I love it. I've been using this bait pretty much most of 2016, towards end of 2016, beginning of 2017, and I do have I used to have a lot of, and still do have a lot of Strike King baits, and I love them. I mean, as you guys can see, there's not a chip on the paint, and it doesn't come apart like a lot of the others. There is a little bit damage on the gill, but that's from the rocks that I've been fishing them on the river. And for 2017, the Strike King, I believe this one is $5.99. Yeah, $5.99 or $6.99 from Bass Pro Shop. This one, actually, I have painted this. I was trying to imitate a perch pattern, but it was in a rush job, so as you guys can see, the paint is not that great. Other than that, I've been using it pretty much all 2017, late 2016. It's one of my go-to baits when it gets tough out there. It does work pretty well with walleye and smallmouth. As you guys can see, the bill is almost gone. It used to be nice and straight, but from all the rocks, and now it's cracked as well. And if the camera will show it, but yeah, I mean, I've been using it. No paint chip, even though I didn't put much effort to it. I completed this lure probably within half an hour, and I let the clear coat dry in my car. That's why there's some of the paint is smudged up. And let's get to jerkbaits. Actually, the whole reason I'm doing this video is because of the jerkbaits. I've been trying to fish the river, trying to locate the fish where they at right now. I know the walleye are moving up river, especially the males. Trying to find where they're staging right now. It's a little bit tough. And I was talking to a fellow co-angler, and he's been throwing Lucky Craft pointers, Megabass, and all that crap. And we do lose a lot of lures in the river. So at one point, I was just counting. It was at $300, and I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. Time out. Yeah, I mean, let's go back to it. We'll start with the most useless that I have came across. It will be, I believe this. Yeah, it's Livingston. I do own 4 or 5 Livingston lures, and I have yet to catch a fish on them. And I have fished areas that are tough, and I have fished areas that I get a lot of pike. With the Livingston, I didn't even snag a shad. So it does look like Vision S10. It looks like a knockoff of a Vision S10. I mean S10, 110. This one has 3 different sounds. I have used it in the river, ponds, and nothing. I have used their crankbait. I actually had to buy 4 different crankbaits because I snagged them before I caught a fish. And they do have pretty nice hooks. Other than that, I wouldn't buy. I have not bought ever since I bought my last one in beginning of 2017. I will not spend a dime on these. I'll buy a Lucky Craft before I buy a Livingston. And then we go to Megabass. These are $25. This one is the Vision. It's from the Vision series, but it's the small one. I did use this one quite a bit. No, not that much, but I did use it quite a bit. As you guys can see, the paint is chipping. This is from a Vicious 16-inch pike, actually. I was pretty happy when it didn't break me off because he had it pretty much down to its throat. But $25, and this for a little pipe dust to it. I mean, I do love their the weight balance. It does make a difference a little bit on the cast with the weight transfer system, but for $25, I'm gonna skip it on. This is the only mega bass that I have bought, and I have not bought a mega bass since then. It's just that they're pretty cool lures. I do have a lot of knockoffs of mega bass, and the same thing with the weight transfer system and whatnot. They do work, but for $25, there's plenty of better baits than that. And one of my favorites, Strike King. I love them, especially the one with the 3 hooks. I used to use it religiously. You can use them as crankbaits. They work just as good as Rapalas. The only thing that I like about these is you can jerk them pretty fast, and it will never roll on you. I do use the KVD series jerk baits from Strike King, and I guess he designed them for his own unique fishing style. I've seen him just swap at it. The paint job, it's holding up pretty well. It did catch a lot of pike on it, just one teeth mark over here. But other than that, the paint is pretty durable. This one also does have a similar system like the Megabass weight transfer. I don't know if you guys can hear the rattles moving. It does cast pretty well. I just love it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Strike King, and also Rapalas. They are pretty much all the Rapalas I used to buy as a jerkbait. They are okay. I do like the flash that they have, and they're pretty good when you crank them. Strike King, it's not that as good as Rapala when you try to just crank it. Rapala usually just it'll shimmer and it'll create a flash. I mean, this is the reason my favorite jerkbait, one of my favorite jerkbait is the Baker lures, but since I'm a pro staff with them, they're not that important right now. Rapalas, this one same thing. Since this one is not painted, oh actually it is, but it's a holographic lure. And this one I snagged the line, and it had a fish, and I got a fish and a lure. It's pretty good. I used to use the Rapalas a lot, but they do have a unique action that it's not my style, so I have switched to something else. Different brands like Strike King, Becker lures, and also there was two more that I can't think of their name. But most of the time I'll just use my own lures, especially on the river. Unless I'm fishing tournaments, then I'll use name brand lures. But for the price tag, I believe these are $7 or $8, all worth the money. And my favorite, actually my second favorite, but I own this lure probably I would say over 5 years, 6 years. A year and a half ago I snagged it in Fox River. I actually had to go down and get it. Price wise, I believe I bought 10 of them for $10 back in the day from Dick's Sporting Goods. These are Mazuo America, and they do not have the, well actually this one does, but most of them don't have the weight transfer system. This one just has rattles that move, but it's basically simulates the same thing as the weight transfer system. I love it. For walleyes, it works like this, especially this color works amazing. I don't know why exactly. It's a walleye killer. I got this bait to use it on I used to use it on spinning, but I just use it like a crankbait most of the time. It does have a little bit, it doesn't work like a repeller when you crank it, but when you jerk it, soft jerks, this one works great. I mean, it does have a pretty loud sound, and it does night fishing for walleyes. I usually when I go for walleyes, it's pretty dark outside or very low light conditions. In muddy water, clear water, always kills it. So to conclude this, I don't want to make it a half an hour video. It has sharp hooks. So guys, if you think buying a $20 lure, $50 lure, or $25 lure Megabass, it's gonna catch you more fish, you're dead wrong. I mean, I fish my lures, and if you guys can see on some of my videos, I'll cast my lures where I know I'm gonna probably get it snagged. And if you're fishing with a $25 lure versus I'm fishing with a couple dollar lure, like $5, $6 lure, I don't mind losing it. But I can afford to lose 4 or 5 lures before I say, okay, I'm not gonna do that. And like I was fishing with my buddy when he lost his lures. I mean, we were getting short strikes for some reason, and we tended to get hung up. I did lose a couple of lures, but my lures are like I said, $6-7. I think the most expensive one was $7.99 jerkbait from Becker Lures, which I didn't care because I can just go online and get a new one. And he was losing lures like crazy, and he got frustrated, and he kept on switching to different style baits. But when you have, I think one of his crankbaits, I can't remember, either was Everglare or whatever. He said it was $19, and he wanted to go in a raging water just to get it. And I'm like, dude, you can wait for the river to come to settle down before you go in. I mean, right now it's flooded, and you won't make it. If you go in, you won't come out. So for the young anglers and people who are just starting out, I know a lot of people are just pushing Lucky Craft, especially if you go online on YouTube. So, oh, look at the 5-pounder I caught on a Lucky Craft. Oh, look at this, look at that. No, there is people that have caught 10 to 15 pounders on $2-3 jigs. So if you're just beginner, just fishing for fun, I would suggest start out with something that's a little bit more in the price range that you can afford to lose, instead of just spending tons of money on something that's more of a high, how should I put this, more of you paying for the name brand than what the lure provides. Like I said, I would never spend money. Sweet. I would never ever spend money on a Lucky Craft lure, especially when the paint job is just coming out. Most of the time, depending on the conditions, the paint is not that important as the profile or the action, but it does make difference in clear water. And this one is a silent one, so the way it's gonna attract fish is by the color and by the amount of water it dispenses. So the paint job getting all messed up within taking it out for less than half an hour, that's a big fail to me. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope these tips helped you out, and hopefully by the end of the week I can locate the walleye and have some good tips for you guys. That said, see you guys on the next one.